And we're going to continue today with the skill number 11, which is already in the last dimension, which has
Yes.
to do with what is the last dimension?
Empower.
Yes, empower to conquer. How? We have to empower our people to be able to conquer and not like others said, you have to divide and conquer. Well, this is kind of the other way. You have to empower and conquer.
Right.
What is this about? It's about promoting autonomy, which is how to make your employees working on their own, defining their own goals, how to encourage team routines, mm, which is what we're going to see today, and how to build self organizing habits. Mm. So, how to encourage team routines? Basically, what we're talking about when we talk about team routines is how to do things in a way that people is already kind of waiting for that, kind of having rituals, right? So there's a lot of information on how you as an individual, when you have a planning ritual, it helps you get through the day more quickly, knowing exactly what is the most important things you need to do and leave less things to be decided. Okay. So this is kind of, imagine like you every day you wake up, you have to think about, okay, what is my breakfast? What do I have for breakfast today? Oh, what kind of clothes do I need to wear? Or where do I need to go? Imagine that you have to ask yourself all those questions, right?
Yeah.
How would your life look like?
Of course, will be unorganized, and probably I saw in one of the first slides is about routine. And if you allow me just to comment, is I understand from couple of public speaker and motivator that routine is also is very good, which sometimes organize your life and organize your steadily daily habits. Okay. Uh, the routine, a lot of people thinking the routine is not is bad. I don't think so it's bad, because that's organized sometimes your life, what you're going to do.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I mean, maybe what you say is that some people complain about routines, right? Like to be innovative and all those things, but routine is something that help us kind of have less things to do every day. If you just, you know, define some things, how you're gonna do them, it makes it easier to go through your day. For instance, you already know, you already have your clothes ready in your wardrobe for tomorrow. You already know what you're gonna have for breakfast, or you already bought that, the previous day. Then you start at the same time every day, and then you have a routine that you're gonna start. So that helps you be much more effective. That doesn't mean that you will have to do every day the same things, but it means that at least maybe 80% of the things that you're gonna do throughout the day, you already know which they are, and you only have to decide the other piece. So this is a good example, for instance, from people like Mark Zuckerberg. It's Facebook CEO or Meta CEO. So
Yeah.
he uses all the time the same clothes, the same type of shirts. He has like tons of shirts from the same color or very similar, and the same pants. So when he needs to go to work or even get dressed at his home and just work remotely, he already know what's the kind of clothes he needs to wear, right? He doesn't think, oh, what kind of tie I'm gonna wear or what kind of shirt. No, he has almost all the shirts are very similar, so he just
Should.
doesn't spend time on that, right?
Yes, yes.
So when you have all those routines, that helps you go through the day. So you can spend more time on the things that are really difficult to define. Those are the things that
Very.
are not automatic, right? So those are the ones that you're gonna spend more time, because all the other ones are
Yeah.
done. So that's kind of the same thing with teams, right? If let's
Yeah.
say with your team you don't have a meeting where you meet often with them, then every time they have a question, they will go back to you. So that means that a lot of people is going back to you in different times, which causes you to get distracted all the time with all these questions.
Right. Right.
So let me give you an example. I remember when I was building the app with this team. So they said, okay, whenever you have an issue or a question, you just send me a message through WhatsApp. You know what WhatsApp is?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So, I was sending messages all the time. That means that they were all the time having to stop what they were doing, go to my app, trying to answer my questions, or sometimes they were taking several days to answer something. So it wasn't very effective. So that's why we said, okay, why don't we either or define an email address where you can send all the questions, or maybe have a meeting once a week so that you can ask all those questions. So that way, it's the same with customers. It's better to have a way, a standardized way, so that your clients can go and ask for the questions than having all these questions randomly, asked throughout the day, which maybe for the customers are okay. It's the time when they need the help. But for you, it's totally, uh,
Yes. Yes. It's
disruptive.
disturbing stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's why it's good to have some kind of team routines. Like, for instance, meetings. What time you're gonna meet? Maybe you when you're having a remote team or a hybrid team, maybe you can meet every day for 15 minutes, at least to say hi. The same thing that you would do in the office, but you have your regular time to meet, so that people know exactly where to find you as the boss or something. Maybe routines for awards also, not just give an award whenever you want, but have something that they are expecting. Okay, once a month I will someone may receive an award, or once a year, or something that they can kind of expect. Communication, routines for how you're going to communicate. Do you expect emails? Do you expect the use of Slack? Do you expect someone to send you messages on WhatsApp or something, right? Kind of like we did, the two of us. So from the very beginning, I sent a calendar invite with a link, and all you had to do is accept that and wait for that, right? So
Yes.
the time where we have a disruption, or where I had to create another invite, that created some problems with us, right? Because we just got lost. So I sent it, but you didn't receive it, or So
Yes.
that's what happens. This is life. This is how it's
Absolutely.
work too, right? When these
Yeah.
routines are kind of disrupted, they generate some kind of miscommunication, or anxiety,
Exactly.
on the side of the employee or the other person. So that's why team routines are so important to reduce stress, especially when you are not able to see the person, in person. Mhm.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Agree.
Mhm.
Actually, those team routines of the projects, how it is going. I love the first one meetings. Okay, is once you part it understanding, you feel the people is engaged where they have steady schedules. That's something make things easy. Awards is a recognition where they know what's the rewarding or feedback from the boss, etc., which is very important. Of course, the communications, project assignments to everyone. So that's absolutely is.
Yeah. And the others that are not very common are how to resolve problems or how to make decisions, you know? So
Yes.
maybe employees, okay, if they went to the problem solving training, or they went to the decision making training, they know how to do that, right? But there must be a way to solve problems or make decisions at the company level, so that whenever, for instance, there's a problem, or, well, okay, we know what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to do a brainstorming, or we already know that we're going to go to this meeting and work on the fishbone diagram, for instance. Okay, so that things
Right.
that the employees are already expecting. For that, it's not that depends on, well, does my boss know how to do a brainstorming session or no? Or do we need a facilitator? No, this is part of the company, how the company operates. Mhm.
Okay. I see.
how the team operates. Sometimes you cannot change the company operations, but at least you can define how your team is going to address things. So every time we are confused on what are the roles or there's a problem, this is how we're going to address it. Hmm?
Right. Exactly.
This is kind of what you have to think about. So, for instance, how to do meetings. Hmm?
Mhm.
I like about this 30 minute meeting challenge because I used to work in a company where they had, well, most companies are like that, right? That the standard is to have 1 hour meetings. So every time we wanted to do something or talk about something, there you have the 1 hour meeting, right?
Yes. Yes.
And people wants to be respectful, so they would, extend the meeting so that they last for an hour. And when there's the hour, that's it. The meeting is over. So the problem with that
Exactly.
is that sometimes you need more time to define something, and sometimes you just need 15 minutes. But if you just get used to, okay, for whatever reason, we just have a 1 hour meeting and we don't define the agenda, we don't define the meetings, and we just stick to the standard of 1 hour, that makes it super inefficient because sometimes, it's not what we need. Hmm?
Absolutely. Agree with you.
So what I'm trying to say here is what about posting the challenge of saying, okay, what if our standard is 30 minutes, not an hour? How could we do that? How can we make our meetings more effective so that in 30 minutes they are done? Imagine
Right.
how much we would be saving. Managers
Eh,
spend like 70% of their time in meetings. Imagine you would cut the time they're spending in meetings in half.
the productivity will be more,
Yeah.
and the
And
effective of
it's
the
not just
meeting,
about
isn't it?
that. Effectiveness of the meeting and also the meetings you attend. Because when the challenge here would be to make the routine very, very carefully prepared so that you know exactly what's the agenda, you time box the agenda so you know exactly which are the topics that you will discuss and how long you need to spend on those topics.
Right. Yes.
So you need to facilitate or guide the meeting so that it happens that way. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you analyze who are the members that will need to participate. The other problem
Right.
with routine is that sometimes the right people is not in the meeting, or you're inviting more people than what should come. So
Yeah.
then, you are all the time inviting to tons of meetings. So you randomly decide which ones you want to attend and which ones you don't want to attend. So sometimes you are not going to the right meetings and you are going to other meetings that you are not needed or someone else could attend for you. Maybe you could delegate it to someone. Mm. So it's very important that whoever is planning the meeting defines who is the right person to be in that meeting. Carefully take the time to do that, not just randomly invite people. And also, when you receive a meeting invitation, make sure that you know exactly, okay, should I be in this meeting? Why am I in this meeting? Should someone else maybe be perfect for this meeting instead of me? Start asking those questions. Hmm?
Mhm.
So that also makes it easier. Sometimes we are waiting
Absolutely.
for people to come to the meeting, and those people that are not even important. Sometimes, we spend a lot of time because we have all these people asking questions and they shouldn't be in the meeting in the first place. So all these are, making your meeting more effective. Then at the end of
Yes.
the meeting, making sure that all the members had their feedback. Mm.
Right.
And this part of the feedback is very important. Why? This picture, do you have any idea what this picture is?
Sorry, the line is the voice is not clear now.
Oh, so I'm
Yeah.
wondering,
Yeah. Yeah. Now. Yes. Yes.
okay, I'm
I hear.
wondering if you
Yes.
know this picture, what's happening here in this picture?
Looks like there is plenty of people here, and I'm noticing that the people is there. They are all of them concentrated. But is that me recording and something? And but my question is there is distracting of something like people is getting in the back, etc. Is that right?
Looks like there's a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's something distracted, maybe because of there's a lot of images, of pictures there.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, okay, okay. I didn't notice that. That's correct. That's correct. Yes. Yes.
What happened is this
Okay.
thing is happening. It's a meeting that happens in an organization um, that prepares movies.
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
so
Yes.
in this company, it's very important that people are very candid with their feedback. So that's why they are inviting a lot of people, but they also need to listen to everyone. Why? Because all these people are criticizing parts of the movie. But this is the main part that makes the meeting effective. Because if these people are seeing all these parts of the movie, but they are afraid of talking, they won't be able to talk. They won't give their feedback. So they are there, spending time there, but they don't speak, right?
I
So
see.
the
Yes.
office meeting in this company is exactly the opposite. Is that all they do is ask these people to participate and give their feedback, candid feedback, no matter if it's right or wrong, if it's something good or something bad. You have to talk.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. So
Exactly.
these
There's an
these type of things are very important. A lot of meetings, whenever there's a manager in the meeting, or whether someone, or the CEO, people are afraid to talk, are afraid to speak up and say something wrong. But the problem is that, this is part of the routine again, how the company helps the people be open and candid about what they think. If they make everyone in the room make sure they speak, even if they are not in the room, if they are remotely, are they able to speak up?
yes.
Mm.
Right. So
So
give a
that,
chance to everybody, like the remotely people and etc., to get engaged in the meeting, participating. You mean?
exactly. I don't know if you ever done any hybrid meetings when you have people here, on site, and people that are
Yeah.
on the phone. Have you had that?
Yes. Today I handle a meeting today, one remotely and one on site. So it was very short. Two two on site and one remotely, and I was the chairing of the meeting. So bring usually disconnected to the discussion.
Oh, I could barely hear you. There was some disconnection.
Ah,
So what did you say about?
sorry, disconnected. I mean, today we do have a meeting. We are the total of four,
Mm.
two on site and one remotely, and myself as a chair here. So what I do when I bring a point, I get the opinion of those physically, but also intentionally, I ask by name the people remotely so they feel connected and they don't feel disconnection from the meeting.
Exactly. Perfect. That's Fatty what you have to do. Okay, invite them intentionally, because whenever you're with someone, you're face to face, it's easier to ask them, hey, how you doing? What do you think about this? But most of the times we forget about those on the other side. So it's
Exactly.
great, especially when you have a lot of people, to make sure that everyone is participating. If they are not participating, then maybe they don't need to come to the next meeting.
Correct.
So that
Yes, I
way
agree with you.
we don't spend our time on things that they don't need to be, and we just use our time more effectively. So in order to do that, the last
خلاص
part of
تمام
the meeting
مش
has to do with,
مشكلة.
you okay?
Yes. Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead.
So the last part of the meeting is to make sure that you have minutes or something that everyone commit to after the meeting. So if after the meeting you review the movie, you had all the feedback, but then nothing happened with that, there's
Mhm.
no tracking of what you discussed, there's no commitment for people for the next meeting, then your meeting was for nothing. And most of the time, this is the case, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Agree with you. Agree with you.
But again, this
Agree.
is all about how you build the routine of the meeting, how you make sure that all these instances are occurring so that you have, okay, maybe you spend the last 10 minutes saying, okay, who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do that? That's part of how you organize the meeting.
Yes.
So this is kind of how you do routines. The same for decision making, the same for everything has to have all the steps well defined by the team so that everyone every time they have a meeting they do it the same way. Every time they have to make a decision they do it the same way. That is what a routine is. So some
Exactly.
other things that you can include, as part of the meeting. Okay. For instance, team meetings will be held once a day no matter what. No matter who arrives on time or who's not, the meeting is at 10, we'll start at 10. Standard meetings no longer than 15 minutes. So no matter what happened, we're gonna end at 15 minutes. If we need to discuss something else, then we add an extra 5 minutes for that specific topic. Okay, but we don't put it in the middle of the meeting. Mm.
Okay. So you
Then,
are in a favor of shorter time for the meetings.
sorry. Oh, there's bad connections again.
Favor of shorter time for the meeting.
Yes.
Oh, do you hear me now? So you are in a favor of meeting not exceeding 40 minutes. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do
So
you hear
what
me
I'm
now?
saying is that ideally you need to define what's the best time for the meeting, right? Do you need 30 minutes? Do you need 40? What do you need? But try to be adjusted to that, not to just have 1 hour meetings for nothing. Maybe if you need 15 minutes meeting, that's fine. But try to, you know,
Cool.
adjust to that. So if you're gonna have 15 minutes, finish at 15 minutes, not just, oh, okay, I'm gonna do a 15 minutes meeting and then you end 30 minutes later, because that's confusing for people. They don't know what to expect for the next meeting. But sometimes it could happen that during the meeting, there's a topic that you need to discuss. There's something new or something that happened or something that, may take a longer time to discuss. That's where you need to say, okay, so we're gonna leave this in the parking lot. We're gonna talk about this later. Who should be in this discussion? Do we need everyone, or should we have only 2 or 3 people? Okay, only 2 or 3 people. Great. You just meet and discuss that. Because have you seen how many times in a meeting, people start complaining about something or discussing about something, which maybe not everyone should be involved, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Agree with you.
This happens a lot and it's very distracting. So that's again another routine that you need to. Okay, there's a topic to discuss. Okay, parking lot, and then we discuss it later. But everyone expects that. It's in agreement with that kind of way of working. No sides conversations. Agrees to share concerns openly. We use the consensus process for all team decisions, for instance. Okay, instead of just making the CEO or maybe the leader make the decision, you use consensus. Or no, the leader will decide. Okay, but it's something that is clear beforehand.
Yeah.
Action items will have owners and a timeline, and will be written on the whiteboard to review next day, for instance. That's all things that you can define to do in advance. And every time you go from the meeting, your name will be written there with a timeline and a goal to commit to. Mhm.
Sure.
So regarding hybrid meetings, well, we just talked about that.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions or anything about hybrid meetings that you'd like to mention?
Um, I think uh, I think hybrid meeting is should be always meeting than physical. So I'm not in favor to exceed like 30 minutes by all means for hybrid meetings.
Yeah, that's true. Hybrid meetings, It's not like face-to-face meetings, right? It's easier to make them shorter so that people get focused on something. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
that's true. So that's one
Yeah.
thing. There's also the other thing that is important is how you're going to share information, right? Because maybe you're used to write on a whiteboard. So what do we do when the person on the other side can see the whiteboard or not? Maybe should we use other tools to share the information?
Cool.
Yeah. Any other thing that you consider here?
Uh, you mean for the hybrid?
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, I think I've done a lot of hybrid meetings, a lot of them. And one of the points that I notice a lot in hybrid meeting is uh, get distractions, especially if the hybrid meeting exceeding 2 to 3 peoples. Once you reach more than 3 people, easy to get distracted, I guess. Do you feel that
Oh,
too?
yeah, yeah. Well, that's part of what I mentioned before about selecting carefully the team members. When you have
Mhm.
more than 6 people, it gets more complex to talk.
I see. I see. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Once you get more people, more than that number, easy to get distracted.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are used to, or I remember the culture of this company that they were used to invite a lot of people to the meetings. So everyone was attending to thousands of meetings every time, every day, and then going to the meeting for nothing. So first thing, define very well who you really need in that meeting. And maybe if instead
Right.
of doing one meeting with 20 people, maybe you need to do 3 meetings with, 6 people, but you're going to be more effective in each of those meetings. And you're going to spend the same time because you can have 3 shorter meetings.
Exactly. Exactly.
Good. So using visual tools is also a very good way to define routines in teams. So we're going to share some visual tools that are online, but some others that are physical. So visual, also audible aids, whatever that helps people define things. So that's why, I wrote a book on 5S. Have you used 5S? Or did you know that
How
I
you
have?
use what? Visual tools.
Have you ever
Maybe.
used the tool 5S?
No.
No?
By this, you mean?
5S.
Can you write it down to me? 5S. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes, this
5S
one.
tools, you mean? Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So, I wrote a book about 5S.
Make it 5S. Is this? I know that's 5 Ys. I know 5 Ys.
No, it's two different things. One thing is five Ys when you ask five times why, and the other is five
Yes,
S.
I know that. Yes. Okay.
The
What is so?
score,
Can you brief it? Maybe I
score,
know about it.
sign,
Oh, score.
no,
Sorry. What?
score.
What again?
5S is 5 steps in Japanese uh, that start with S. Sort,
Okay.
store, shine, standardize, and sustain, or what I call it self-organize. So I wrote a book about
Okay.
it, but it's not that I defined the tool. It's a Japanese tool that was born in Toyota, but that's the way for them to organize a workplace. So for instance, here you see the picture with the 5S methodology is showing, a tool board where you have all the tools with labels, with shadows, how you should know, how you should put things, where you should put them. That is 5S.
Yes.
How
Yes.
you sort the
Okay.
things that you need from the ones that you don't need, you store them in a specific place, you label the place. Mhm. So 5S is all about showing in very simple terms with visual aids, very simple, what is it that should be done. So it helps people to follow routines more easily. And it helps people to self-organize, to get self-organization and also autonomy, which basically is what we're discussing in this dimension, how to empower people. So you empower people the best way if you are giving them tools to know exactly, for instance, how to organize those tools. So if you have someone
Right.
new into this workplace, they will know exactly where all the tools are. They will know where the
Mhm.
standards are. They will know what to do first. So it will be easier for them to become more autonomous. You know what I mean?
Yes, got it.
So you never read about this tool.
Yes, I will. I think you do have it in your website. I found it there actually.
Yeah, and you're gonna read a bit about it on the book, on the last two chapters of the book. But I have another book that that I've written especially about it.
Okay. Yes, yes. Uh, I saw probably one of your documentations.
Yeah, Five Your Life. So this is very good, especially for healthcare. So that's something maybe that you'd like to read in the future. Mhm.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes, there are tons of examples in healthcare on how to improve operating rooms, how to improve communication with uh, the nurses and the doctors, because you need to act fast. Sometimes you are not there because you change shift. So 5S is great for that. Yeah.
Right.
Mm. So basically, it's a tool that helps people comply in an easy way without having to read a complex manual. Mhm. Everything you need to do, you can see it. It's easy. Mm.
Yes. Yes.
So some other tools that you can use to help people, comply with routines is online tools like Mural, Small Improvements, Lattice, Sansama, Trello. So remember, I showed you Sansama, right? Have you tried?
Mural. I try Mural.
Mm,
Actually, the first time I hear about it is from the book Mural. I didn't do it before, so I try that and I like it, especially with using sticky note in brainstorming sessions.
yes, yes. It's very good. Hmm.
Yeah, so that's the stuff when I use a lot. I use a lot with the especially with the workshops with online training between the teams, where especially during COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, amazing. Well, these are all the tools that you can use to help people that are working remotely, that you don't see very much. They are called Lattice, Small Improvements, Sansama, and Trello. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
I can I can send you some of them if you like. Mhm.
Sorry, you
I
can
can
show
send
me
you
with that
some of
one.
them if you want. Yes.
Please, please, yes, yes.
Mhm. So that's kind of how they work. You can assign things to people, you can define times, you can share what other people are doing, you can share your task with others, you can organize. For instance, on Sama, I really like it because you can organize your calendar, you can organize your meetings, your calendar invites, your to-do list all together. I'm gonna send you also a video where I explain all that so that you see it's super easy, and it will be great if you have it with your team, not just you. You
Yeah,
can share
sure.
and see what they are doing. Mm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So the other thing, other ways of organize or being organized is by using Scrum or Agile methods. I don't know if you ever heard of Scrum. Have you used it?
No, I didn't.
So Scrum, it's a methodology that it's very hard to explain very easily because it takes time, but it's a methodology that is used very much in the IT industry because they kind of by design, they are working remotely, right? They are all working in different places. So there must be a way for them to be organized. So what they do is they have different roles. They have one person that is in charge of defining what is it that the customer wants, which is the product owner. Then you have the Scrum Master, which is the person that just makes sure that the team works in a right way. And then you have the team members. Mm?
Ah,
So
yes, I hear about Scrum. There is a Scrum certification, isn't it? Am I right?
I'm a Scrum Master, for instance. Yes. Mhm. Yeah,
Okay, okay, go ahead.
this is very
And
good because the Scrum people have a routine. Because, for instance, in quality, we learn tools. Okay, you learn 5S, you learn 5 Ys, you learn tools to apply to a certain circumstance, right? But
yes,
you don't have team routines. So Scrum define team routines. So they say, okay, every time before we start a project, we're going to have a sprint planning. So we're going to define which are the things that we need to do. And we're going to have sprints. Sprints are kind of how you're going to divide your project. Let's say your project will take 6 months. Okay, we're going to divide the sprints in 2 week sprints. So we will meet every 2 weeks, for instance. Okay. And then we have a daily scrum, and a meeting that we have every day for 15 minutes, where we share what we need to do every day and where is that we need help. Then we have the retrospective. It's a meeting that we have at the end of every week to see how the team is doing. Okay, so
mhm,
what happened with Scrum is basically this: that you add certain routines to the team so that the team is organized.
okay,
Mhm.
okay,
Well, that's something that is very much used again in the IT departments, but it clearly could be used in healthcare or in anything else. It's just a way to help the teams be organized and have meetings at the right time and go do the projects in an organized way, so that they know,
sure.
okay, in the sprint, these are all the things that we're gonna do in these 2 weeks. These are all the tasks that we're gonna do. So we have this in the backlog, in a list where every employee will be able to say, okay, I finished this one, I go and grab another one from the list and start working on that. So it helps also to promote autonomy within the team, but within a certain structure.
Okay.
Mhm. Is it kind of complex or?
No, no, no. I think because I've seen couple of people who get certification in Scrum. They said I'm certified in Scrum, etc. And I was interested for it at one time, but I don't know. I didn't read about it, and I thought, oh, this is might be a purely IT. This is it will be difficult to me, so I didn't go through it.
No, it's
Uh,
not difficult because also it's very similar to Lean. It has the same concepts of Kanban, of Lean. Uh,
okay.
it adds the part of the routines of having all these routines into how you work, and how you work by little increments instead of just having the opposite to this is the waterfall method, which was how we used to work in project management institute, that from the very beginning you define the entire project, 6 months ahead, and you have everything
Right,
planned.
right.
And what they're saying is maybe you don't need that much time on planning, but you need to kind of divide the planning in little increments. So every 2 weeks you meet and you define what you can do in those 2 weeks and something like that. So it's a
Yes.
different way of planning, actually, more of project management.
Okay, okay.
It's interesting, yeah, yeah. So that's something also that you could, if you like, you can
I
go and talk, and train your team to work in kind of the Scrum method. Mhm.
sure, sure.
So these are some
Okay.
of some of the things that you could use to work on Scrum. Mural, for instance, have some templates so that you can have your retrospective meetings, so that you can have your Scrum meetings and plan your sprints. So you can check out something there if you want.
Okay, yeah. And by the way, now the certification for Scrum, is it coming from the PMI or from somewhere else?
No, it's for somewhere else. There are different places that provide that, but for instance, you have Scrum Alliance, you have Agile Alliance, and in
Okay.
my case, I got the Scrum Master certification, and I also got the Agile Coaching certification. Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay,
can
okay.
also be the certified product owner. You can be yes, Scrum Master, blog owner.
Oh, really?
There,
Okay.
there are
That
different
sounds
things that you can be. But basically,
sounds
you can learn a lot of line online. You can find out what's the agile methodology and what is the Scrum method, and you can read. There are several books about it too.
cool. Cool. That's. I think I should. Yeah. Yeah. I should read that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
there
it
is a
can
prof.
help you work remotely, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the last thing to think about when you're trying to plan your routines is also how you plan your own routines, right? How you make sure that you have a space that is organized, that you have the right equipment, that you have the good sunlight so that you can work, how you can prevent distractions in your workplace. So it's the same thing that at the very beginning I said, how you need to have your own routine so that you are more organized and you can be focused on what you need to do. You do that individually and in a team. It's very important that you can do that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Otherwise, like I said at the very beginning, you spend a lot of time on trivial things. So maybe having a tool that helps you organize that, it's cool. So that's why I can share with you. Let me see if you can see this. Hold on.
Sure.
Um, so for instance, you can use this. Let me see. Where's the chat? Here. Okay. You can try this one.
Uh
You
huh.
can, and this is a very good tool that will help you organize your own routine and the routine of your employees. So, like I said, you need to promote your routine, but then also let your team design their own tasks and goals. That's kind of how Scrum works. But in order to do that, you have to help them to do that. So having a tool that helps them organize when they're gonna do things and that they can share that with you, it helps you communicate better with them.
So do you use Sunsama now? This website, do you
Yes,
use it?
every day. Every
Oh,
day you
really?
open it up and it shows you a routine to organize your tasks, to see which are the tasks that you're gonna do, how long are you gonna spend on each task, what time are you gonna do each task. And if you think, okay, this is too much for today, maybe you already plan for the next day. You also have a backlog, all the things that you like to get done, but you go select some of them and you organize it in your day. And you can connect that to other tools. You can connect that to your Google Calendar. You can connect that to your Trello. You can connect to your, other tools that you have so that you can put all the things together in one calendar.
Cool. That's great. And all of them, they have access to the tool at the same time. All the team, you mean, right?
Yes, if they all wanna use it together, yes. So you have
Okay.
your own platform, right? Your own task. But then if you can say, okay, my team uses the same tool, so you will be able to see what they do, and you can assign them things, see what they're doing, and they can assign you things too. So it's very, very interesting how you can work in teams with it.
Sure. Sure. That sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's summarize where we are today.
Yeah. I like today's session. It's really touching daily routines, daily practice.
Yes, well, we do every day.
Yes.
So, a me culture is more focusing on how we avoid team routines so that we can maintain control, right? So, we only have one meeting a week or one meeting a month, and that's it. All the rest is individually. So, that seems very practical. But in the end, it's not good, because then you, like I said before, you end up having people all the time going asking you things, and maybe they repeat the same questions, right? So it's more time consuming. Then, as you have so many meetings and you don't prioritize your meetings, then you end up multitasking while you're doing your meetings, because you have so many, but you don't have time to do all the things. So you don't do anything well. You are doing many things at the same time. Everything, disorganized.
Sure.
You spend a lot of time attending unproductive meetings, and also you rely too much on complex standards, because you prefer,
Yes.
okay, I just give this manual to someone and they will know what to do. On a work culture, we're going to set team routines. We're going to focus on short-term meetings, but more effectively, we're going to time box the agenda so that we know exactly what we're going to discuss there, and we follow up. We follow the timelines that we defined, and we try to use visual methods to help people comply and make them do the right things at the right time.
Okay.
Looks simple, is not, but this is your challenge. This is what you need to work on.
Okay.
For next class, or I think that you will have enough time, or maybe your team can work on that. Try to think about your routines and try to think about one that is not very good. Try to think maybe a meeting that is taking too long, or maybe an activity that doesn't make sense and it's taking too long or it's not effective. And try to identify elements of the routine, kind of, okay, what do we have? An introduction, we have a minute, we have I don't know, presentation of the people, we have brainstorming. Try to define all the elements of that meeting, and identify which ones are individual tasks. So tasks that could be done outside the meeting, okay? And which are the tasks that should be done with the team inside the meeting.
Sure.
What you're going to do with that is you're going to try to convert these internal elements to external. So for instance, some things that were done during the meeting, maybe you can do them outside, so that not everyone is losing their time. Maybe you just found one person losing that time.
Sure.
Then you just streamline all the remaining elements so that you can make that routine more effective.
Okay. Got it.
Have you ever done SMED? Do you know what is SMED? Single minute exchange of dice?
No, I don't do that.
Okay, this is SMED. So this is kind of, the Formula One cars in Abu Dhabi, that
Yes.
they spend like 1 second, 2 seconds to change the tires. Well, in the past, they would spend like an hour changing tires, right? And now they
Right.
spend like 3 seconds, right?
Yes. Yes.
So this is because of SMEP. They define which are the tasks that they can do in advance, which are the tasks that can be done at the same time by different people, so that they can do them more quickly. And they do it just 3 seconds instead of 10 or 2 hours.
Right. Right.
And this
Okay.
is what they did. They follow all these processes. So if you follow the steps, you will be able to do that to your meeting too.
Sure. Got it. That's nice. I love it. Okay. I will do this exercise with the team then.
Okay. Any questions?
No, sounds good. Thank you. This is very great today.
Okay. Glad to hear. So
So,
recommendation, try this Sansama that I told you.
okay.
Now I think you have 30 days for free. So try to use it. Try to use it with your people and see if they work. And do this exercise with the SMED so that you can make a meeting more effective.
Okay.
Good luck
Sure.
with all that.
Hopefully, sure. So our next meeting is 19 of August, right?
Let me see. 19. No. I thought it was. Let me see. I have here 23.
Oh, I think no,
Yeah, 26.
23. I
Tell
can on 19. I can have one
okay.
19 and the 23, which is and I think we can finish by 23. Is it or 20? So two sessions more or three? So again,
So right, you said nothing about the 19th, so that's why you don't put anything on 19. You just
oh,
said on the 23 and the 26th. So we have
well,
two more sessions. Two more
so
sessions.
19 and 23 is good. I'm commit for 19 and 23.
Okay. Okay, I will change that then. We'll move it to the 19th.
Sure.
Okay?
That's good. That's good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Luciana. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for today. Bye.